So today we're actually talking about entrepreneurs and solopreneurs. And I have Sherry as a co-host and I have Linda as a co-host. So they're going to be kind of following everybody over in the attendees to make sure that everybody at least is allowed to talk. And as soon as you click through allowed to talk, their name does show up here on the screen. So I love that we have so many folks today. And again, I was just explaining about the Zoom between meetings and webinars, and we are on a webinar, which is why we're having to click everyone through. We do have 5 lanes, which I just talked about, that you can go to kathybinner.com and actually see those lanes. And I'm going to show you that in a moment. And our topic today is entrepreneurs and solopreneurs. And I know one of the things that's kind of scary about all of that is if you want to get started, you don't really kind of know what your first step is. And so I want to get just a little bit of an idea, which is why I wanted everybody to be able to talk and to chat with us. Who would like to volunteer and give us just kind of a brief overview of what it is that you're bringing to the world? Because I want folks to be able to understand exactly what we're talking about. Because in this particular webinar on entrepreneurs and solopreneurs, we're going to talk about what is today our main topic is our VPS, our value proposition statement. What value, what promise are we bringing to our audience? And a lot of folks are kind of like, I don't even know what that means. It's your 30-second elevator speech. It's your 30-second commercial. It's your value proposition. When somebody comes up to you, and I don't know about you, but I've been in networking groups where I was running for the door because somebody will latch onto you and kind of follow you around. And you're like, okay, I want to meet some other people. So this person needs to kind of back off a little bit. But what happens is they have not perfected their 30-second commercial. And we call it an elevator speech because it's something that if you step onto an elevator and a stranger steps in, or maybe somebody from your networking group steps in and they go, oh my gosh, what is it that you do? How do you say that by the time the door opens on the next floor? And you have to have some sort of a value proposition statement, your VPS, that shows them the value you're bringing to the world. And so I'm gonna give you mine real quick, and then do I see any hands on somebody that wants to maybe jump in and give me theirs for some of you that have been through this course with me before? And so mine is that I am Kathy Binner, and I am a passive income coach, and I show you how to make money without punching the time clock. You see how short and sweet that is? Now, I can tailor that to whatever group I'm in. If I'm in a real estate group, I might tailor it a little different than that. If I'm in a networking group where I want to cast a wider net, the one I just gave you is probably the one that I would use. So it just depends on the environment that you're in, on what value you're bringing to that audience. So who else wants to give me one real quick? Anyone?
Elise is raising her hand.
Okay. Oh, Elise, now do we have you?
I should be able to talk, but you
Yes,
shouldn't
there
be
you
able
go.
to see me, and that's okay because I just need to put my headband on. But I have my VPS ready to try.
Okay, go ahead.
Hello, my name's Elise with A-List Solutions. I'm an executive publishing assistant who helps authors, course creators, and landlords to orchestrate the mundane so they can focus on the money. And then I can expand from there, but I can stop with that.
Okay, now I love it. I love it, but it sounds a little bit mechanical to me.
Ooh.
And so you want to make it very, very conversational. Think that you're sitting in the living room at Christmas time and your uncle turns to you and says, Elise, what are you doing these days?
Okay.
What would you say to your uncle?
I help authors, course creators, and landlords orchestrate the mundane so they can focus on the money. So I wouldn't put the intro into it, right?
Right.
Okay.
Because again, you don't want it to sound canned or rehearsed or practiced. Because again, you want it to be authentically conversational. You want to be able to take it anywhere. I mean, this could be the lady next to you at the drugstore. And, she goes, oh, hey, I see you're buying that's on sale. And you start a little chat and you start talking with her. And then she goes, what is it you do anyway? You don't
Gotcha.
want to, drop into this canned presentation. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, then I guess I would go with I help small business owners build courses, dispatch contractors, and create websites.
Yeah. Yep. That's perfect. So that's the value that you're bringing to your audience. That's your promise to your clients. That's what it is that you're going to do for them. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Okay. I don't know how to pronounce your name. Anka?
Close enough, Anka. Hi.
Anka, yeah, okay.
Hi, I'm gonna try the informal one. So, hello everyone. My name is Anka, and I am a healer. I know it is a big word, but this is what I'm doing. I'm on a mission to help people who were failed by traditional healing methods, right? And how do I do that? I do that in different ways. I am a master hypnotherapist. So I'm using hypnotherapy, I'm using NLP and other different modalities. And the end results that people get when working with me, they feel grounded, they achieve the inner peace, and they achieve the goals, whatever the goals might be, fears, weight loss, better life, anxiety, and so on. And that's me. Thank you.
Yes, I like that. However, I don't know that you would have time in the elevator going from the first to the second floor to get all of that out.
All right. So what should I should I delete?
Well, and you want to kind of make it that I am blank.
Mm-hmm.
Who does blank for blank?
All right.
So I am blank. Who does blank for whom? So I'm Kathy Benner. I'm a passive income coach, and I help folks make income without punching a time clock.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Okay.
And so you want to now, if somebody leans in and says, oh, Anka, tell me more, or wow, that's interesting, I'd love to know more about that, then you can tell them more. But what we're talking about today is having your value proposition, your 30-second commercial, your elevator speech, having it very conversational. And so again, if somebody comes up to me anywhere, let's say I'm at we just all came through the holidays. Let's say I'm at a Christmas party and somebody goes, Kathy, what are you doing these days? Well, I'm a passive income coach and I help folks create income without punching a time clock. You think that gets any interest? You think a lot of people might lean in on that one and go, what? How do you do that? Because the whole point in your VPS is to get folks to lean in and ask for more. That's the whole point. You don't want to hit them over the head and chase them out of the elevator saying, wait a minute, I wasn't done telling you what I do.
Come on, why not? That's fun, once in a while. I'm kidding. Yeah, makes sense. Thank you.
So anyhow, so write it down, kind of work on it. And again, the formula is I am blank, who does blank, for blank. So I'm Kathy Benner. I'm a passive income coach. I help folks create income without having to punch time clock.
Okay. Thank you.
Now, you can tailor that to whatever group you're in. So for those of you that know me, and Janice, I see your hand up. I'm going to come to you in just a moment. So for those of you that know me, you'll know that I came through 25 years of having beauty salons, and I had 5 salons by the time I retired. And for those of you that are interested in the real estate lane, I teach in the real estate lane how I bought how I let my staff buy me 5 commercial buildings. So anyway, and that's how I was able to retire. So anyway, at this particular point, if I am in a group of, say, cosmetology students, or if I'm in a group of cosmetologists where they want me to teach, because I do have a couple courses for the Board of Cosmetology here in Ohio, if I'm talking to that particular audience, I would have said something like, oh, I'm Kathy Benner, and I own booth rent salons, and I provide you a space for you to have your own salon. And of course, every stylist is like, what? I want to have my own salon. How does, so they all would lean in and go, how does that work? Tell me more about that. So anyhow, because what I had, I'll say the model that I had was a booth rent model where not only did I own the building and called it All About You Salon Suites, but I let, and here was the sweet spot on how I did this. I let each girl rent a suite and she could name her own suite, her own salon name. And that way she owned her own salon without having a huge overhead of renting some big building and blah, 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 and having to hire staff. She could have her own salon and be self-employed in her own little suite, and she could name it her own salon name. And that is how I helped launch all of these folks into having their own business, their own salon. And they just did it. It was kind of like a co-hatch thing. We all just kind of shared in the big building. Does that make sense? And for those of you, and I saw a couple of faces go, what? When I said I let my staff buy me buildings, I collected the rent. I bought a building with a mortgage. And what I did is when I rented out these suites to the individual stylist, I collected their rent and paid the mortgage. And I had a 20-year mortgage note. And in 20 years, that building was paid off and I didn't pay a dime. It was from the girls that rented the suites from me. Their rental income went to pay my mortgage. So that's how I ended up when I say but you see in a VPS, the way I phrase that, and now let's say I'm talking to a room full of real estate investors. I can say, I'm Kathy Benner, and I can show you how to get your staff to buy you real estate. See, so you see how you can phrase that differently, but it's short and sweet because the whole point is you want folks to lean in and go, what? How did you do that? Or how does that work? Or tell me more about that. So that's what you're after when you're crafting your VPS. So Janice, let's jump over to you. What is your comment? And unmute there. Click your microphone there, Janice, and your little red slash on your name will disappear.
There. Okay.
There you go.
Okay. I'm Janice Foster, an RN health coach that helps adult siblings learn how to get along.
Okay. I like that. That makes me go, what? How do you do that?
Yeah.
See, it makes me lean in. Yeah. Do you notice how Janice's was short and sweet? Anyone else want to jump in and give us your example? Ronnie.
Of course, I just wrote it since we were talking. I'm Ronnie.
No, that's perfect. I get it.
I'm Ronnie Shelby, and I help companies grow their business and revenue through the bid proposal process.
Okay, say that one more time and see if I understand what it is you do.
You probably don't. So I'm Ronnie Shelby, and I help companies grow their business and revenue through the bid proposal process.
Oh, through the bid proposal process. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, is there any way that you can make that a little more conversational?
I don't know. Yeah,
Hey,
I was thinking about
Ronnie.
because it's super boring. It's not fun, right? So I help healthcare companies. I primarily work with just large companies, right? And I help those healthcare companies go after large healthcare contracts in a particular state.
Okay, so basically you help them write bids.
I do, yeah, but I don't write anymore.
Explain that.
I just manage the process.
Okay, so you're just managing the process of the writing of the bid. Okay, okay.
Yeah, so you help them become to be strategic about whatever state it is, right? Because every state has their motivating factors. Alabama is going to be completely different from New York. And so we help them be positioned to win the business.
Okay, where do the bids come from? Are you talking about government money? And
they will be state sponsored. Yeah. They'll be
okay, so this is government money that you're helping them get.
Exactly.
Okay, now for all of us that are on this call, what if she said, this is Ronnie and this is my company and I help people get money from the government?
That'd be interesting. Then the problem I would have with that, the only problem is a lot of people ask you that, but I don't really work with a lot of small companies. as much. So then, because everybody wants money from the government, like people always say that, like, oh, I can get money. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Well, then you can just say, I help large companies get money from the government.
Okay.
The point is, and again, take it back to where you're at on Christmas Day and you're sitting in the living room and your uncle across the room goes, Ronnie, what is it you're doing these days?
Progress.
Oh, Estella, I'm gonna mute Estella there a little bit. She was vibrating there, echoing.
That makes sense. I'm gonna have to work on it because it's not fun stuff.
Yeah, but you see where I'm going with that, because
I do,
what it
absolutely.
yeah, because you never know. Somebody that is a large company is going to lean in. If you say, I'm a large company and, you know, I help large companies get money from the government.
Yeah.
At some point, they're going to lean in and go, how large of a company? See, and that's exactly what you want. You want to generate conversation. So you want somebody to go, well, how large does the company have to be? See, they're going to lean in. And it's going to be much easier for you to do business when someone's leaning in already.
Right. Makes sense.
And so then if you go, oh, well, they have to have X amount of employees or whatever, they go, okay, well, that's not me. And then they're going to lean back out. But if it is them, they're going to go, oh, yeah, okay, I have that many. Now, you know, what do I need to know? See, so what you're doing is you're going to activate a conversation.
Yeah.
And here is the difference. And next month we're going to be all about this. So bear with me.
Yeah.
Next month, we're going to talk about, and I want to kind of go through that list. And next month, we're going to be talking about storytelling. And once somebody is leaning in, that's when you get to tell your story.
Right.
That's when you get to say, well, I had this client, you know, you're going to tell a story because your storytelling is your marketing. And we're not going to go down into the weeds with that today. But we are going to talk about storytelling next month because that's your marketing. But what you want to do is you want whoever you're talking to lean in so that you get to then move into your story. That's the whole point of your VPS.
And I'm sorry to
interrupt
you. I'm looking to, because I'd like to transition out of this. And so I'm looking for a way, like you said, to kind of draw from what I've done and to think through what that's going to look like moving into something else.
Okay. And so let me, and again, I see Ruth, Linda, and Sherry have your hand up and I see you there, but let me ask you this, Ronnie, what is it that you want to transition into?
I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out what I want to be when I grow up. Right. So yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm hoping going through this process that'll help me kind of start to eliminate that and to transition into something that I really want to do. Yeah.
All right. So before I jump over and chat with the other three that have their hands up, let me say this to the whole group. If you don't know what you want to be when you grow up, and I get it, but I'm very good at reinventing myself, and all of us can be. And here's how you reinvent yourself. Make a list of everything that you either have a skill set to do or you enjoy doing, even if you don't quite have the skill set yet. Like I wanted to be a writer, but I didn't have a skill set to be a writer. But here in April, I'm going to publish my second book because you have to start. Yes, thank you. You have to start somewhere. So make a list of everything that you have a skill set for. And then make a list of everything that you want to do that, you know, and we all know, you know, call it the universe, call it your intuition, call it the Holy Spirit. I mean, you know, I don't want to offend anyone, but what I'm saying is that, you know, deep down in your body, deep down in your soul, you know, the kind of person that you want to be. And so make a list of those things. You know, and they can even be kind of abstract. I want to give more. Well, I wanted to give more for years and I didn't know how that was going to look. And so at some point I had the opportunity to create a nonprofit. So now I actually have a nonprofit out there to where I can give more. And so now I'm looking for ways that I can give more. And this is one of the ways is doing this free meetup. This is one of the ways that I can give more, because we all have something on our hearts that we want to do, or we want to be, or we want to have. And you have to start going down that path. even if it's not clear what's going to be around the corner, you have to start going down that path. You have to, and we've all heard it, eat the elephant one spoon at a time, take baby steps, follow the path and it'll be clear around the corner. I mean, we've all heard all those cliches and they're all true, but again, we all just sit there and we have this thing inside of us that we either want to do or want to be or want to have, and we don't ever take that first step. We don't ever take that first spoonful. So I'm here to encourage you to make a list of everything. Then once you have that list, go back and mark off the stuff you absolutely don't want to do. Let me give you an example. When I was trying to reinvent myself, I did not know how I was going to move down that path, down that list. So I made the list, and the salon industry, I knew very well, like the back of my hand. I had 5 salons. I'd done it for 25 years, but the doctor was talking about shoulder surgery and elbow surgery and wrist surgery. And he was like, wouldn't it be wonderful if you quit this right before I cut you all up instead of right after I cut you all up? And because he was talking about all these surgeries. So when I made my list, that was on my skill set, but then I drew a line through it because I knew I was going to move away from that thing. Even though I had a great skill set, I knew in my heart of hearts that I needed to move away from that because my health made it to the top of my why that I wanted to reinvent myself. And I had to take care of my health. And I didn't want to have all those surgeries. And I didn't have to have all those surgeries if I just made better choices. And so that's probably the toughest transition I went through, was walking away from 5 salons that were active, going businesses to reinvent myself into something else. And the way I did it was putting it on the list, and then I drew a line through it. And then when you're all done and you see what's left on your list, what is the common thread that can thread through the things you've listed there? Maybe it's all about writing. Maybe it's all about coaching. Maybe it's all about having a retail. Maybe the thing my granddaughter loves making candles, and she loves using candles. She loves making candles. She then created a little website selling candles, and she's doing quite well because that's her thing. Okay. So decide what it is what thread goes through. Is that helpful for everybody or anybody? Yeah. Okay. I want to jump up here, and Ruth, I want to ask you, what is your comment? Let's go to Ruth.
Kathy, this is Estella. Can you hear me?
I can, yes.
Can you see me?
I can just see your face because not everybody, let me see. We've got
Something's wrong with my Zoom and I don't know what it is. I don't have all the things at the bottom. And so I didn't know if you could hear me or not. But my hand is up, but you can't see it because I can't put it up.
I got you on twice there for some reason, Estella.
That's because I'm trying to figure out which one will work.
Okay, yeah, you're on 2 different ones. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but we see your lovely picture and we can hear you just fine.
Okay, thanks. I can't see my picture.
All right. I will see if maybe I can't. Anyway,
I don't think it's in your system. It's in mine. But my hand is up. Okay.
Yep, we see you. Okay. Ruth, go ahead.
And I would say that I help people take their relationships to the next level by using some of the principles that I've learned through my life. So what relationship do you think of that's causing you the most pain right now?
Wow, that makes me lean in. Yeah, if I met Ruth somewhere and she helps relationships go to the next level, the first thing I'm thinking of is, oh boy, I need help with either this one or that one, or, maybe it's a friend, maybe it's a sibling, maybe it's a child, maybe it's a spouse. Right away, it comes to mind on a relationship that I want to take to the next level. So you see where that makes me lean in.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? Now, Ruth, we're going to put you on the hot seat for just a moment. How did you decide that that's what you wanted to be when you grow up?
Trial and error. And I still am doing trial and error. It's not done yet. It's like, okay, I've got these things. I feel like I'm learning a little bit more each day, but it's just listening to people and seeing what they need and what they want and what they're reacting to. And it wasn't till a couple of years ago that people told me that I bring calmness, that I bring peace. And I didn't see that in myself.
I love it. And you do bring calmness and peace. Your voice is very calming. And Ruth is an author, by the way. So thank you for being with us today, Ruth. This is wonderful.
Thank you.
Yes, Christy says you have a great voice. Linda, how about you?
Get my mic back on. Okay. So yeah, I'm open to any suggestions to tweak mine. I'm Linda Thomas. I help folks create their own unique end-of-life plan so they can be a blessing to their loved ones instead of a burden.
I like that. So how many of us, especially depending on your age, if you're at the age where you've buried your parents or grandparents and you see the mess that is, you're right away, you're leaning in. You're like, oh yeah, oh, I remember, and even for me, my dad passed away, and my mom was considerably younger, and I had to help her, navigate through all that. And so when I meet Linda and listen to her VPS, it definitely makes me lean in to go, how could we do this better? And how could I make it better for my kids? And so, yes. Now, not everybody, I've got a 20-year-old grandson and he'd probably go, yeah, whatever. Because if you all remember when we were younger, that wasn't even on our radar. Okay, so it just depends on what audience that Linda is in on how she says that. If you're in a group of young people, Linda, how would you change that up? Or have you thought of that?
Well, what I know is that basically everybody that's over 18 needs something of what I cover. Like the day you turn 18, you have specific things that you need to be putting in place. But how to bring that succinctly? I've talked to people in their 20s, and they, depending on what's happening in their world, they get it, if they have children or if they've had a loss of some kind, or a relative or friend has had a loss. But yeah, I don't really know how to make it immediately attention grabbing to someone who's in 20s or 30s. Like, I know they need it.
Okay. All right. So let's kind of mastermind that a little bit. So first of all, when you're getting ready to do your VPS, your value proposition, your 30-second commercial, your elevator speech, whatever you want to call it, you need to enter the conversation in your audience's head instead of making them enter the conversation in yours. And let me say that again. Whenever you're putting anything together, a program, your statement, you have to enter the conversation in your audience's head, not make them enter the conversation in yours. And so if I were going to talk to a bunch of young people, say in 18, 19, 20, I would think about what is their hot button? What does their world look like? And again, you can't even think back to when I was 20 or Linda, when you were 20, because the world isn't the same as it was when we were 20. So think about what is their world today? What's the thing today? And if it were me, I would probably lead with the social media with that group.
Okay.
I would craft a VPS or value proposition statement on how you can keep their social media from disappearing.
Yeah, a la the talk that I gave a while back.
So I probably would lead with that. Yeah, Sherry says include TikTok. Yeah, I would probably lead with that because that would get their attention. You would be entering the conversation in their world, and that would get their attention. And then as they lean in and you learn more about that person, then you can kind of tailor make, whatever you want to present to them on your services. And again, what we're talking about, and it doesn't matter who you are on this call, it's how are you going to help someone? How are you going to serve someone? And that's going to be our step 3. we're talking about our VPS. Then we're going to talk about our storytelling is our marketing. Then our serving is our selling. And that is month 3. So come back every month for this, because this is going to get good. And so once you have your VPS and you kind of know what you, and again, it's fluid. You're going to work with it all the time. But once you kind of have an idea of what your value is to the world, to your audience, then we're going to talk about crafting your story, because your storytelling is your marketing, and then your serving is your selling. So as Linda connects with her audience, with her VPS, and they go, oh, tell me more about that, then she can segue into her story, like, well, this happened to me, or this happened to my, to a good friend of mine, or this happened, to a young person I know. So now she's going to tell the stories to bring the point home, and then she's going to try to serve them. She's going to try to meet them where they are and say, how can I help you with, because then in conversation, they're going to tell her what their problem is. See, because the whole point in this process is to get your audience to lean in and say, oh, I don't have a problem exactly like that, but here's what my problem really is. See, and once they start sharing that, then you can serve them, and your serving is your selling, and you're going to serve without trying to make a buck. And let me say that again. You're going to serve without trying to make any money, because whatever you give comes back tenfold. Whatever you give is going to come back tenfold. Now, this is kind of a law of the universe. And again, for those of you that have, some religious background or spiritual background, you get where I'm going with this. You cannot outgive. And so if you just serve, your cup is going to run over. Trust me on this. And here is what I want to say. As you go down this path with me, because we're going to turn some corners as we walk through the woods here. If you go down this path with me, you will become a different person. It's more about who you become and who you are than what it is that you sell. Because if you focus on becoming that better person, and you're crafting your business, and you're telling your story, and now you're serving, and you're just focused on serving, you will become a different person, and you'll have more than enough. And it's like a law of the universe, like gravity. It doesn't matter whether you believe in gravity or not. If you walk out to the edge of the porch and drop the ball's going to drop. It doesn't matter whether you believe in reciprocity or not. It's a matter of the universe. If you give, you will get. It's as simple as that. So that's my lesson for the day. Sherry, you had your hand up.
I did. I wanted to talk to Ronnie a little bit. So when you had first said something about contract process and bidding and stuff, it went like way over my head. And the reason I wanted to address that with you is because my topic can go way over people's heads as well. Just ask Kathy, she knows. So what I wanted to share with you is trying to find words that are common to everyone and avoid the technical. And it's very hard sometimes to do that. So my name is Sherry Dowder. I help teachers and looking at the kids that are refusing to do their schoolwork. Why is that happening? So I help the teachers really take a look at what those writing barriers are, and I help them overcome it through professional development. So I tried to avoid using the technical term for what a writing challenge disability is, which is dysgraphia. So does that help a little bit, Ronnie?
It does. It does. Thank you. Yeah, I knew it. I mean, it's one of those things when people ask me, I'm always like, I don't even want to tell you, because, you kind of, because it is something that is not so common, and it's hard for people to understand at times. And it's not, you don't want to feel like you're talking down to them. It's not that. is that you're so engaged in what this world is that a lot, it's just hard to explain, right? In 15 seconds. And even if you try, they still walk away with, well, what is it that you do again? My family doesn't know. Like, I've done it for 15 years and they're like, I don't know. She does something at home. That's how they describe my job.
Yeah, my husband still doesn't understand what I do, and even though read my book 3 times.
That's hilarious. I love it.
So
good point.
So I know
Thank
that
you.
Estelle, sure. I know Estelle wanted to talk, and I'm not quite sure if she's still has her hand up or not, but
and then I've got Barb. So we're gonna go to Barb next, and then we're gonna go to Estelle. And then I want to give you an overview of where we're going, and then I'm going to turn it over to Linda because she has something to share with us as well. Oh, and Rita's got her hand up now. So we're going to kind of tie this up here in the next few minutes so that we can move on to our second topic of the day. So Barb, over to you next. Barb, are you still with us? Unmute there in your lower corner. We'll let Barb's multitasking. Maybe we'll let her catch up. Estella, did you have anything you wanted to share?
Yes, I want to share my value proposition, my 30 second. Okay. So my name is Estella Blake, and you know how a lot of people get taken advantage of due to the high cost of accessing professional legal advice. I provide you with affordable legal protection so you never have to worry about feeling like a victim and having to check your wallet before you check your rights.
Oh, I like that. You've worked on that, Estella. That makes me lean in.
Thank you. And I hate that my Zoom isn't working, but thank you very much, because I said I need my expert here to hear this.
Oh, no, that's good. That's good. As a matter of fact, I'm going to click a button to promote you up to panelist. When you see that, click through, and then your Zoom will work. Your actual video will work. Okay, Rita.
Hi, everyone. I'm Rita Brewer. I am a physician assistant and health coach, and I help people reverse their type 2 diabetes.
Nice and sweet and short and simple. And how many of us on this call know someone who has diabetes? And so we're going to go, oh, you need to talk to Rita. You need to talk to Rita. You need to talk to Rita. So you see where she's going to get folks to lean in, because if it's not a topic that they want to know more about, they know somebody that needs Rita's touch. So Rita, that's amazing. I love it. I love it. All right. Now, everybody don't go away. Hey, I'm going to share my screen.
Hello.
Oh, yes.
It's Barb.
There is Barb. Yes, go ahead, Barb.
My problem is that everybody's saying what I say. So I'm Barb Thompson. I'm a wellness coach who helps individuals become healthy in every aspect of their lives.
I like it because it's a nice overview, but it's like me asking an attorney or asking somebody, what do you do? And they go, I'm an attorney.
Right.
Because my next question is, and again, if I'm in an elevator, I don't have time for this, but my next question is are you a divorce attorney? Are you a real estate attorney? Are you a contract attorney? Because maybe I've got a problem, but I don't know if I want to connect with this person because I don't know if they're the right kind of attorney for me. And the only thing that I feel on yours is I get what it is that you do, but I don't get how you can specifically help me. So I think there needs to be a couple of words in there somewhere that tells folks that you get to the heart of the matter.
Okay.
And I'm not sure, and again, kind of work on that, but something that says, I can help you discover maybe your major or your main focus on what you need to overcome, and I can help you with that.
Can I share some support on that too, Kathy?
Yes, Rita, go ahead.
My business coach taught me that because we know as health coaches, we can help a lot of people with a lot of different problems. But they taught me that if you are for everyone, then you're for no one. So you have to really niche down and think about one specific area of health that you're really passionate about working with. For me, it was diabetes and metabolic health. So even though I can help a lot of people when it comes to different health issues, you want to be that one person that focuses on one niche area, so people are going to think about you when they think about that particular thing. So think about what area of health you're really, really passionate about, those patients that you really love working with, and try to niche in that specific area first. And then once you have a broad-based clientele, then you can start branching out and helping a lot more people with different issues.
Rita, good point.
Thank you.
That's a great point. Is that helpful, Barb?
Very helpful.
Okay. Now, everybody just sit tight. I am going to share my screen. It'll take me just a minute to get to the right page here. I just want to show you where to find everything. So for folks that are on the call, this is Kathy Benner International Academy. Here you can see it in the URL. If you just do kathybenner.com, either one will get you to this page. Then when you click here on the More button, you can see where we're talking about health and wellness, real estate. Here's the entrepreneur and solopreneurs. That's where we are today. Authors and writers and networking and connecting. So now I'm going to click on the entrepreneurs. And these are, and again, we're going to segue over to Linda in a moment. These are the 6 little icons for the entrepreneurs. We have our free meetup, our course, and then our mastermind, which is turning into a membership site, by the way. So all of you can participate in that if you'd like. But under the course, this is kind of what I want to show you on where we're headed with this today. And when you scroll down, this is the curriculum. And here's where we talk a little bit about adding more heart to your business. And then here is how to wordsmith this value proposition. There is a template here in this area where you can create your VPS. It's an actual template, and this is what it looks like. And so let's see if I can scroll to the template here. Right here. So this is the template, which shows, and I'll move our faces out of the way a little bit. It shows I am your identity, who helps whoever your tribe is to do or understand what, so that your overarching vision. So I am Kathy Benner, your passive income coach, who helps you create passive income so that you don't need to punch a time clock. And again, I just wanted you to be able to see the formula. If you want to take a screen print of this, you're more than welcome to do that. I just wanted you to make sure you could see the formula there. Okay, does everybody have it? Yep. And again, it's found right here in the course. And then it goes into the storytelling is marketing. I just kind of want to show you the overview. And then serving is selling. We're going to get into that. And then we run through a step-by-step guide on how to set up your website. And again, this is, it's where you're going to be the sage. You're going to guide somebody. You're not the hero. Your client is the hero. And you're going to be the character who, you're going to picture your audience who has a problem, and the character meets a guide. You're the guide who gives them a plan, who calls them to action to help them avoid failure, to end with their success. And so basically, and we're going to get into all of that as we go through this program. I just want you to see what's coming so you can decide whether you want to plug in for the rest of the year, because we're going to do each topic one a month. Then we're going to talk about how to create your offers to get people to know, like, and trust you. So we're going to talk about your free opt-in offer, creating your first base, your second base, your third base, and finally, what is your home run package? And then from there, we show you how to put all of that together to where your website functions like a funnel, a sales funnel. And then we're ready to start advertising what you do. So then we talk about how you can create a blog, how you can either create or be a guest. You can be a guest on a blog or create a blog yourself. You can either be a guest or create your own podcast. And then how you can move into public speaking, because I don't know about you, but if you get in front of 40 people and tell your story, that's a whole lot faster than telling your story one-on-one. You can make a bigger impact. And again, It's not about making the money. It's about becoming the person that serves your audience. Okay. So I know I went through that rather quickly. If any of you are interested in getting into this course, here's what I want to say. Let me go back to the homepage. Here's what I want to say. Go to get the entire academy for one price. That's the easy way. That way you get all of this and all of the replays and all of the courses. Don't spend money and buy individually. So anyway, Kathy Benner International Academy, or just go to kathybenner.com. Both of those URLs will get you to this page. So that's, again, I don't want to spend a lot of time there. I just want you to see where to get the information. So with the idea of creating different offers, one of the offers, and this is what we're going to segue over to, one of the offers is having either a 5-day challenge, a mastermind, any type of a 5-session of something. And here's what I know. You're all on this session today. Some of you may or may not come back next month. You might go, it's not for me. However, once you're on for 5 sessions in a row, you'll start to make friends within the group. You'll start to connect with somebody else. Like Sherry was helping Ronnie, and Ronnie might decide she wants to connect with Sherry. So anyhow, the point is as you start to develop relationships with folks that are on this call, it's more likely that you'll continue to come, because we'll continue to be your tribe. See, you'll be able to offer your services, because I'm sure there's somebody on this call, and as an example, there's somebody on this call right now that's probably made a note to get in touch with Rita because they know somebody that has diabetes that they know, or somebody on this call is taking care of elderly and they're like, I got to get a hold of Linda because I really need to know, how to maneuver those end of life decisions. I need to know how to maneuver that. I need to get a hold of Barb because I am having some health issues and I want to see how she can help me. I want to get a hold of Ruth because I do have a situation with a relationship. So this tribe becomes your tribe. Does that make sense? And so
how do we do that?
How do we do what?
How do we get in touch with each other?
Just continue to come on the first, starting in February. We're going to be the first Monday of every month. Just come and be a part of this tribe, the first Monday of every month at 12 noon. And you can put in the chat that, you can chat directly, or just raise your hand and say, Linda, what's your phone number? I need to talk to you. Or Rita, I want to connect with you. Feel free to do that. And we'll stay on a little after if anybody wants to connect with each other. I want you to do that. Okay. But I want to show you now what a 5-session something looks like. And I'm going to turn it over to Linda. I'm going to let her explain what it is that she's doing. And she is going to show us an example of how to put together a 5-session and whether hers is a mastermind, a challenge. Now, don't get me wrong. You can do a 1-day master class. You can do a 5-session master. There's all kinds of ways to make offers, and we're going to get into that. But I just want to show you today what one looks like with Linda. So Linda, go ahead and set it up for us and tell us what it is today. And you're on mute. I know. There you go.
Do you want me to cover some of the nuts and bolts behind what I'm planning, like platforms and that kind of thing?
Yeah, just briefly, and then go ahead and launch into your topic.
Okay, so I'm planning on doing a 5-day challenge in February, and this will be the week before Valentine's Day. I feel like it's a great tie-in with what's going on in people's minds that time of year. And I'll be announcing it kind of on all the socials. I have Facebook personal, Facebook business, 2 Instagram pages, and a LinkedIn page, and a YouTube channel. So I'll be trying to put it out that way, and then I'll probably create an Eventbrite event, and maybe a Facebook event, although the last time there was a little wonkiness between people who joined the Facebook event thinking they were fully in. So I'm going to be pondering that between now and then. But we have a lot of great things available to us. And you never know, I may go ahead and create a meetup account between now and then. So I'll be.
Now I want to jump in and say this. Don't
Yeah.
everybody, if you've not started down that path, don't let this sound overwhelming. Like, oh my gosh, I got to have Facebook and Meetup. And no, don't. Linda's been at this for a while, and she's been down that funnel a little further than a lot of us. She's ahead of me in a lot of areas. And so don't let that intimidate you. I just want to say that as we're listening to her, because she's a rock star in my world. So, okay, Linda, over to you again.
So I'm just using what's available to me, and I'm my goal is to get more consistent on social media, because I am an introvert and could be a recluse if left to my own devices. So putting myself out there front and center is not what comes automatically for me. So yeah, I'm going to tie it in with Valentine's Day, and it'll be a 5-day challenge, Monday through Friday. And I plan to have some like a lot of group chat involved, so that I get feedback that I can go back and learn from the comments. And I also plan to have incentives, like I have a mug that I'll be giving away. I don't have everything in front of me right now. I didn't think of it. I have a journal that has my Legacy of Love scene on it, and some other things. And I thought I'd have like some gamification going on to keep it interesting and have people promote it with a hashtag, which I haven't decided on yet. My working title for the challenge is Lasting Love Blueprint, 5 Days to Peace for Your Loved Ones. So that may change, but Lasting Love Blueprint. And the idea is we'll go over a bunch of stuff, but it'll be a little bit like feeding from a fire hose, but like people will still be needing help, and then they can enroll in my course if they would like to. And then that'll be very personalized guidance the whole way through the process. So is that okay for an overview?
Perfect.
Okay, sounds good. I'm gonna slide the chat over a little bit just so I can see everyone a little bit better.
Now, for those of you that are listening, however we display on your screen, I like to have my Zoom call up, and then I click on the bottom to put the attendees and the chat off to my right. But if it pops up over top of your Zoom call, you can hold it down and scoot it over, and that's what Linda's doing. So for those of you that think you might want to do a Zoom as one of your products.
Yeah, so Kathy, how much time do you want me to allot for some of the questions and chat and stuff?
Just go ahead and do your presentation, and then anybody that wants to stay on and ask questions, you're welcome to stay. This is being recorded. It is going to go up into the membership site. So if anybody is interested in the recording, let me know. I'm keeping track of emails that are in the chat. If you are a panelist, make sure that you click to share your email with everyone if you want to click there. If you're just over on the attendee side, I am copying, pasting it back out to everyone so that everyone on the call can see your email if you want to connect.
Yeah, I just threw my links page and my email in the chat just to get it in a little bit earlier, and then I'll just be talking and not paying too much attention. Kathy, if it's okay with you, I'm going to minimize the chat just to minimize distractions, and then
I'll keep an eye on it for you. Go ahead.
Yeah, if there's anything that you'd like to point out, that would be great. So when I have the real event, I want to ask folks like what prompted them to come. And given that the folks that came today didn't really know what they were going to get, I can't say that this was a destination for you for what I'm covering. But if you want to throw in the chat here for me to learn why you feel this is valuable, or why you're glad you came, or whatever, that would be super helpful for me. And I'll be offering, in real life, I'll be doing hashtags and all that kind of stuff. So this is a topic that people tend not to talk about. There are a lot of reasons. Sometimes it's culture. Some whole cultures just don't even discuss this. And some of them have very specific rules for what has to be done when someone passes away that are very intricate and involved. And that can be really confusing to people. A lot of times people don't know what they need to gather as far as information or even items, depending on your culture. There are things that are actually critical that you have in place, and most people have no idea what, like in what order, like what would be, if you only did one thing, what would it be? Most people guess the wrong thing. So there's so much that people don't know. They don't know what would be important after the critical stuff, and they don't know what would be just wonderful to do for those who come after them, because they haven't even thought that far into it. And most people have no idea where to start. And it's like personal finance. We don't learn this stuff in school. And people don't talk to each other about it that much. And that's part of what led to me doing this. It's so important. I've walked the path. I lost my husband several years back, and I provided his health care literally around the clock for a long time. And my hands were so full just with the healthcare and the logistics that trying to do anything proactive to be ready for what was obviously coming, I was powerless to do anything. The only good thing is that we did get our wills in place and we had our medical directives, but like I was like on the roller coaster with no way to get off. So anybody that's walked that path knows what I'm talking about. So, and any of us that can start thinking about these things ahead of time, this is a huge blessing to yourself, your own peace of mind, and to your loved ones, because if you've got things in place, that makes their life so much easier. And things that you put in place can also be a true blessing to succeeding generations, depending on how far you go into this stuff. But I thought I would share a few stories with you. And these are all stories that either I've lived or people that I know. I just lost my screen here. Just a second here. Well, I guess I'm glad I did this before I was in the middle of a story. Honestly, tech, right? So these are stories that either I've lived or people have told me. I know of one young husband whose wife just dropped over dead at age 28, and leaving him with two small boys, and they had nothing in place because who thinks they're going to die at 28? So he was forced to create a GoFundMe account to even try to handle the final expenses. And even a year later, he was still kind of walking around in a fog. So you're never too young to put these things in place, especially if you have children. I already told you about my story with my husband, and I spent weeks in the hospital with him, living and sleeping in a chair next to his bed, not going home for showers, and not able to make it down to the cafeteria for food. So mine was a real trial by fire. One woman told me that when her mother passed away, she had to go into her mother's home like a detective, just looking for any kind of clues that she might find, like a will or a life insurance policy. And she just had to comb through the contents of her mother's house. So if her mother had put anything in place, she would not have had to do that. Another young woman in her 20s told me that her grandmother had refused the urgings of her family to put her affairs in order for years. And then dementia set in and it was too late. And that put a huge burden on the family trying to wade through the assets and the issues that grandmother's estate involved. And even years later, this young woman had so much anger toward her grandmother that the whole family had never forgiven her for putting them through that. I'm going to take a sip here. Someone that I know personally was in their late 80s and told me, you know, I thought I'd have more time. And it's like, wow, okay. There is an expiration date for all of us. I have a friend whose great grandmother passed away at age 106. And the great grandmother and her adult children, whoever would have been involved in planning, did no planning. And to me, it's like when you're having the 100th birthday celebration and the 101st, it should be starting to dawn on you that the numbers are getting pretty high and that putting something in place might be a good idea. And my friend told me that they were literally just grabbing men of any age at the funeral and asking them to be pallbearers. And they came up to my friend, who's a woman, and said, listen, could you just sing something, anything, for the funeral? Because there was just nothing in place at all. Another story, courtesy of our friend Kathy, one of Kathy's clients got engaged in her middle-age years. Both she and the groom-to-be were divorced, so they both had houses. She sold hers and invested all the money into her new forever home to live with her wonderful new hubby. And they were living together in married bliss. And 1 year into the marriage, he dropped over dead. And unfortunately, he had not changed his will, had not changed the beneficiary in his life insurance, had not changed the deed to the house. So would you like to guess who was getting all the stuff? Not the newlywed bride, but the gruesome ex-wife. So these are all true stories, and I have many more because every time I talk to somebody, I hear another hair-raising story. But I'd like to ask you if you'd like to open up your mic or type in the chat, either way. What thoughts and feelings come up for you when you hear true stories like that?
For me, it's panic. It's like, oh my God, do I have my affairs in order?
Yeah. Anybody else?
I put a story in the chat, but a different story is my husband did get his parents to put the will and all those end game pieces in order between the time that my father-in-law had heart surgery and ended up with a stroke. In that little bit of time period in between there, they got things in place. If they would have waited another couple weeks, it would have been a much more difficult scenario because after the stroke, he was unable to talk.
Yeah. These are cautionary tales, right?
The chaos still continues even after they're gone.
Oh boy.
Yeah, even though they got things in place, there's a lot of craziness that still has to happen. But yeah. But anyway, but I did put a story in there about my cousin. Her mom died the beginning of 2023 and her stepdad died several months later. And they thought that there was a will in place and those kind of things. And when they went looking for them afterwards, they couldn't find anything. The estranged children ended up getting $1 million settlement, and my cousin got nothing, even though verbally the whole thing was laid out that this person was supposed to get that, like verbally it was, they had already talked about what was going to happen. It's not what happened because it wasn't written down.
That is painful. Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they were setting my younger of the two cousins up that she was actually going to have be able to get out of a huge debt that she's in, and now she can't.
Now, I want to jump in and say this. For those of you that are still listening with us, this is an example of the first session of a mastermind that Linda is going to be doing for her clients. And so for any of you that want to practice yours, if you're going to put together this type of a product, get in touch with me. I can get you on the schedule so that you can practice it. But the whole point of the facilitator or moderator of a mastermind is to get the rest of the group talking. And that's the point where Linda is right now. And so I'm kind of layering over what she's doing along with how she's doing it. So back to you, Linda.
Right, we're getting a little meta, so we're looking at the thing while the thing's happening,
Yes.
Which is so valuable. And I thank you for this opportunity to get a run through of this. And I value the input from Sherry and Kathy and anyone who wants to speak up with comments on this. So I'd like to invite everyone. What if something like one of these situations happened to you because an older relative didn't put their affairs in order? How would you feel getting, I'll put a word on it, getting saddled, with this kind of situation?
Ada had mentioned that she could relate. Ada, do you have anything you'd like to share? Oh, and Elise has her hand up. Elise or Ada, either one.
Okay, I just didn't want to start talking if Ada was ready. I definitely would be nervous and overwhelmed with the process. So I definitely, even listening to hearing your presentation before about like all the things that kind of go into it. I've seen and watched a couple of family members go through dementia and like watched how that brain function has like really diminished. So hearing that, it is kind of like what Kathy said, it's a panic, like, oh my goodness, like, there's so many steps involved, and Lord forbid it go to probate court, because if anybody knows what probate court is, they know why you don't want to deal with probate court. So having everything in order and having that A to Z plan for how we can just make sure that they are a blessing. And at the end of your life, I'm just thinking about how I can, best remember you, instead of did I remember to fill out the right form to get this to go to the right spot. So I appreciate the information.
Thank you. Ada, did you have something you'd like to share if you're able? And I see that Rita had her mic off for a moment. I didn't know if you had a comment as well.
I had a question for you, Linda. I absolutely agree that this is 100% important. And my mom taught me a lot because she had to deal with so much from the estates of her parents and both her brothers. And she was amazing at having all of her affairs in order. So she really led by example for me. But my question for you is, it sounds like estate planning. So when I think of estate planning, I think of you go to an attorney and you have all the contracts and wills and power of attorney and all that kind of stuff done. So I'm not sure if you are an attorney or not, but if not, like what role do you play in helping? Do you consider this estate planning, or I'm not sure exactly what role that you play in getting people the things done?
Yeah, this is such a perfect question. Thank you for asking this. So I'm not an attorney. I'm not a financial planner. I'm a pretty smart, pretty organized, and pretty someone who's pretty good at taking complex things and helping them make a little more sense. And what's interesting is what I offer is so much more than what a financial planner does or what an attorney does. I was talking with a young woman friend of mine who's about age 30, and her husband suddenly saw the importance of getting their documents in place because they had 2 young children. And so she was really grateful that he was finally ready. And because she had heard all the things that I do when they were working with the attorney to get the will done, she was like, to the attorney, she just said, well, you know, what about this? And aren't you going to help with that? And hey, like, this is like really underwhelming what you're doing for us here. And the attorney said, this is what we do. We give you the will, and my words, we basically pat you on the fanny and say, have a nice life. And she was like, well, this is that. I'm not loving what you're doing for us here. I thought it would be more. And so within the course that we walk through, I guide you, and we communicate with each other through the process of what documents you need to have in place, what you need to gather. We go over your beneficiaries. Like, I don't need to know who your beneficiary is, but you're going to look at. You're going to make sure you're not leaving something to an ex-spouse or to an estranged brother or whatever. And we actually write your own obituary, or at least gather all the details so your family isn't scratching their head. You can create your funeral desires in the nth detail, right down to music, flowers, donations in lieu of, what jewelry you want to have, all the stuff. And you can plan a memorial, or you can plan a memorial that happens, a living funeral, a memorial while you're still alive. We'll also get into the things that your family needs when you pass, so that they can live as well as possible in the new normal. Knowing who the contractors are, how to access your water bill and your light bill, what your passwords were, how to access things like your email and your social media. We want them to know how to continue. I know of a family where the wife died at about age 40. They had kids that were like pre-teen and teen. The wife had handled so many things because we do a division of labor, right, in most relationships. And the daughter had braces, and this was a little while after the wife had passed, and it was time for the daughter to have her braces adjusted. The father had no idea who the orthodontist was, and kids are kids. Kid didn't know. And these are the kinds of things that we want to set up our loved ones, whether it's our executor to run the household until it's sold, or whether it's our spouse and perhaps children, continuing to live life in the most normal, smooth way possible, because we took the time to think things ahead. But also, in addition to those, I'm trying to think of things that I do in the course that are so different from a financial planner or attorney. By the way, with the worksheets that we do, I call them guide sheets. When you fill them out, you can send those to your insurance person, your financial advisor, your attorney. So the information you're gathering, you're doing the legwork to make it easier for them to serve you, because they're gonna ask you for a bunch of stuff, but usually they're giving you like a packet. It's like a thud factor packet with a bunch of pages, and you're like, oh crud, now what? And you don't know where to start. We're going to do that together, making that easy, smooth, pain-free. And we do it in small bits that fit in around the edges of your already busy life. Because whether you're a young parent, whether you're sandwich generation, whether you're older and you've been afraid to start, we all need this to be easier so that we'll go ahead and do it. But also, we talk about ways of giving before you pass away, through your will, when you pass away, and even gifts, experiences, and messages after you pass away, how to share your ethical will, the things that you stood for in life, so that can be passed on through generations, that this is what you were known for, and this is what our family is known for. So there's so much more than getting a doggone will made, even though it's vital. But to give a wonderful experience of love, forethought, and continuity for your family, we do so much under the Legacy of Love project. Does that help answer your question, Rita?
I think she either jumped off or, but yes, this is recorded. So yes. Yes, thank you so much. The way I see it, and I see Janice, I see you have your hand up. The way I see it is that it almost becomes like an accountability group, you become their accountability partner to work through this, because I don't know about everyone else that's listening to this right now, but I always have good intentions that I'm going to get it done, and I never quite get around to it. And so by tapping into this type of a 5-session mastermind or masterclass or challenge or however you're going to put it together. And Janice had a question about that earlier, and we're going to talk about that when Linda's all finished. But however you're going to set this up, I find it to be a great accountability group, accountability partner. And I'll give one more story that Linda can put in her toolbox. Is we have an older friend. It's a mother, actually, of one of my best girlfriends, and the mom and the dad back in the day created a trust, and they said, there, we've done our financial planning. We put, we had an attorney write this trust for all of our real estate. There was one small problem when the husband passed away. They never transferred the property into the trust. The trust was empty. They paid big bucks to have this attorney write this trust, but they never transferred the property into the trust. And they thought they were done because the attorney said, here's your trust. I wrote it for you. You paid for it. Here it is. They just missed that step of transferring their deeds over into it. So that's where a group like this is so powerful, because you do become that accountability piece. Janice, I see you have your hand up.
Just a quick question. I'm just asking Linda, A, are you an end-of-life doula? And B, could you please post your email again and the name of your business? That's all I want to know.
Sure.
Perfect.
I'm not a doula. That's a path that I don't feel I want to go down. I had, quite an experience with my husband, and then my father just passed last year. And so I think just as I'm called upon in my personal life, I'll do what I need to, but I think I'm not going to choose that as a profession.
Okay. And just post your email, please.
Sure. Kathy, are you able to copy that and just repost it in the chat?
I will scroll up and find it, and yes, I will do that.
Thank you.
Cool. Sure. And so the course is called the Legacy of Love Project.
Okay.
Hi, Kathy and everyone. Sorry I came in a little late today. I was held up, and then I'm just caught off guard with some issues I'm having with Zoom this morning, and I was on my other device. It was more staticky and slow and things like that. But in Zoom was giving me difficulty to log on to my other device. Usually I don't have any problem, even if I'm on 2 devices. I don't have any problem, but something seems to have happened, and suddenly it's telling me you're on another device, and it won't let me come on. So I don't usually have a problem with that. So anyway, it threw me off because I'm like, what is this? Anyway, I just not anything in depth, but can you just briefly, are we like, this sounds like a different program or something different we're talking about today? Like, I know I came in quite later.
Yes, just to give you an overview, this is all about how to build a better business. And one of the components of building a better business is creating some products. And one of the products that you can create is a 5-session mastermind, masterclass, or a challenge. And so once we talked about value proposition statements, which is step 1 in building a better business, Linda is now giving an example of her masterclass or mastermind on her Legacy of Love project. So we can see how someone might do a 5-day challenge or mastermind. And Janice had a question, and this is a perfect time to answer Janice's question. And I'll have to scroll back up here so I can read the exact question here. She says, will you show today how to construct a 5-day challenge and where does one post, etc.? And again, I'll give a brief overview and then we're going to let Linda maybe explain exactly where she's posting hers. But when you're doing a 5-day challenge or masterclass, the first thing is that you would write out your framework, where Linda has her framework of everything she wants to cover in her Legacy of Love project. And then, because your big question is that you're answering for your audience is, what problem are you solving with this 5-day challenge or masterclass? And the problem that Linda is solving is all of that end of life planning that people never get around to. And so from there, you then learn how to facilitate, which is what Linda is giving us an example of today. And you have to choose your platform. And today we're doing it on Zoom. There's StreamYard, there's Google Meet. There's all kinds of platforms you can use, but we're using Zoom. But then once she is ready to launch this out to her client base, she has to decide what price point is she going to offer this. Is this going to be her free offer? Is this going to be her first level offer? Because we get into first base, second base, third base, and home run, which I just quickly went through earlier. And again, I know it's a lot of information, so don't feel that you have to remember all this, but we do show you how to make 4 levels of offers. And so you can choose your masterclass to be in any level that works for you. It might be your free one to get people in, to get to know, like, and trust you. It might be something that you're doing, as your first base offer, where you're going to charge a little bit for it. It might be your great big ticket item. Maybe it's really in-depth course for 5 days, and it's going to be your big ticket. So it just depends. And then from there, once you're done with all of that, of putting it together, you have to figure out, well, where am I going to advertise this? Okay, how am I going to advertise this whole thing? And Linda mentioned earlier about Eventbrite and Facebook ad or a Facebook post event. So there's all kind of places you can advertise it. But then from there, once it's done and you record it, where are you going to post it? And I post mine in my academy, and that's what I showed you earlier with my my whole membership site. And then Linda, I'm going to go back over to you. And where are you posting yours once you have your actual Legacy of Love project? Where do you post the replays?
The replays, the way I did it last time, those who registered would receive an email with the replay link so that they could, in case like they couldn't attend one day or whatever, if the time slot didn't work for them. Okay. And then we talk about creating maybe a VIP ticket where, again, Belinda could have a membership site like I have, where with a flat fee, they could get into all of her replays, no matter what topic, because she has more than just this Legacy of Love. She did a whole thing on social media not too long ago. She has other topics, and so somebody might want access to all her topics. So anyway, I hope that answered your question, Janice, on on how to do all of that. And
yes, yeah, it's a great beginning. Thank you.
And Sherry says, do you use YouTube or Vimeo for your videos? I use both. Linda, how about you?
I use YouTube, but I also use a video hosting platform. I'm happy to send a link to anyone that would like to know where to go for it, but it's called Bunny. It's extremely affordable, and it gives your videos a place to live that isn't on your computer, making your computer heavy and sludgy with too much stuff on it. And they'll serve your videos kind of locally, United States or all over the world. And it's like $1 a month until you start having a ton of stuff.
Okay. And we're talking about monetizing everything. Linda, do you have an affiliate link for that?
I do.
Okay.
Well,
I'm going to let Linda finish up her presentation, but before we go, I'll have her put her affiliate link of that in the chat to everyone. That way it'll keep a copy for me. And when I post the replay of this, I will put all of those links in the replay so anybody can tap in. So don't feel like you have to take a lot of notes. But if you want to just make a screen print, you're welcome to do that as well. So back over to you, Linda.
Okay, I'm checking myself for spelling with any luck at all. I think I got that right.
I see it.
Yeah, it's just ichooseabundance.com/bunny.
Okay.
So it's insane. It's so low priced for all that you get. And that's not a trial. That's literally $1 a month until you have just a freaking ton of videos. And then it still isn't terrible. So I'm just trying to get back on track here. If you don't take action to create your own personal plan, what do you think your loved ones would experience? What do you think that their emotions might be, or what difficulties they might experience? Anybody have a comment on that?
That is like, oh my goodness. That's a good point, Linda. You know, in addition to just the absolute hurt of losing someone, particularly when it's totally unexpected, but just, you know, and I am like so convicted, I will be a part of your thing, definitely. But just knowing where this is and that is and trying to figure it out. Oh my goodness. And then the other thing is, I tell people, you have kids and they think that, you know, their kids, they're in a loving relationship and all of that. That immediately turns away. That is lost. The family that you wanted to be together is no longer. One don't like the other. They're not speaking for years, if ever again. It's a nightmare.
It is. It is. And you know, like if you don't create your own funeral plan, your adult children will be fighting over how nice or cheap the coffin needs to be. Because one will be like, we need to have the most expensive one in order to honor mom. But if your thought is, just get me in the ground, I want my money to go to my kids, they'll be spending money on stupid stuff because there's an actual word for it. It's called relational spending. And it's because they have a relationship with you and they love you and they want to honor you. They're going to buy the frilly coverlet and the gold-plated corners on the casket and all the stuff. But one of them may know that you said, don't do that, and they'll be fighting, you know? So if you tell them what you want and you get it written down, you can avoid so much of that garbage that your family doesn't need to go through.
I just had a lady who had to have some major surgery, and she's in Denver. And she was telling us, she has 3 sons. She was telling us what she did. She got them all on a Zoom call, and she videoed it. And she told them what her wishes were. And they were so grateful.
That's great.
Yeah. So, but anyway, you and I need to talk.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Okay.
Well, you know, even like the story that I told about the young woman whose grandmother refused to put her wishes in place. So you've got, you know, the scenario you described, Estella, where the adult children are squabbling, but you've got an entire family that's angry and resentful, potentially, that you didn't put things in order. And now they feel guilty that they're angry at you because what the heck, you're dead. You know, it's just a whole set of turmoil that does not need to happen.
And they're going to challenge you anyway. What I had my aunt who had no children, and I basically, you know, was taking pretty much care of her. I had her in a nursing home. I had to bring her in from Detroit down to Columbus and all of that. And family members, before she ever left there, they were like vultures. And there, I want this, I want that. And by the grace of God, I had a cousin who said, she's not dead. Stella's taking her. Everything goes with her. But then after she passed, some of her first cousins, they were so evil and nasty to me. But my aunt had a will in place. So Yeah.
That's key.
But
Yeah.
it would have been really bad had that not happened.
Yeah. So true. So true.
Now, for those of you that need to jump off, I certainly understand it. We're going to continue on and let Linda finish. But I understand if you have to move on with your day. I realize we're in the middle of a Monday and some of you may be actually on your work, on your job, and you might have to get back to what you're doing. But please feel free to stay on. We'd love to have you stay on with us, but we understand if you can't. I just want to throw that out there so you don't feel bad if you have to jump off. Back to you, Linda.
I just wanted to say, from what I've heard, again, apologize that I came a bit later in it, Linda, but from what I've heard so far, I mean, it just sounds like just being able to have this type of conversation, you know, at a needed time. I've been there, Linda, so I totally relate. Also, you know, caring for a loved one full time. So yeah, it's only those who've been there really totally, yeah, understand. And so it's just having even that resource of people to talk to discuss these type of things, because you know it's sometimes the person who, just like someone mentioned about their grandmother or someone's grandmother, even sometimes that person who might be the key person, they may not be really want to deal with those issues, but someone has to deal with them. So, you know, so even before the time, just having that conversation. So even if you have, like, especially you have no idea, most of us have no, are totally, wholly unprepared. I'm sure like you were probably at that time, but now in retrospect, you're making this available for others, things you wish you'd known, you know, maybe things you had to just do the best you can and put it together. So it's like, yeah, being able to at least have something in place, think through these things, it is so valuable. Yeah. Absolutely. Wish I had it back then.
Yeah. So many times when we are authors, course creators, coaches, whatever, we design the thing that we wished was there when we needed it. So that sounds like what you're saying, Ada.
Yeah,
And
and I think it's important that it's not just something from talking to me, from my point, from my experience. It's important that yes, it's good to have something in writing, but it's also good that people can talk and express and ask questions, because I mean, when you're in the midst of, I know from my experience, when you're in the midst of all that, sometimes your brain is it's just too much in your head to be just trying to absorb everything written in a book or written you know, you have so many things trying to come in at you at one time. I'm sure you've had that experience, Lynn.
overwhelmed. Yeah, for sure. Well, that's one of the great things about the course, not to be plugging the course, but there's a weekly call where we just get on for an hour a week and just talk about where we're at, questions, struggles, wins, triumphs. And it's just knowing that it's not just you trying to gather stuff together in isolation, but that there's other people who are trying to make this important step forward in their life for the sake of their loved ones and their generations to come. And but what I find, just as an aside, a lot of life just boils down to two things, either love or fear. And when you're doing this now ahead of time out of love for the people in your life, the fear and the overwhelm and the confusion and the I'm afraid to do this and all that tends to evaporate. And it ends up being really fun because you are thinking ahead to ways that you're going to bless them, especially when you're thinking about like messages and experiences that you'll send after your passing. Now you're just like scheming good things, you know, and like you're not going to tell anybody because it's a secret, but it's so fun and you're enjoying doing something that's going to bless other people. So the whole paradigm of what this is about, instead of being what I call capital D death, it's not. Now it's about love and it's about relationships and it's about blessing people. Ada, you have your hand raised?
Yeah, I can see how it can be fun if it's something you're doing way before things are in dire straits. If it's something you're doing way before the person is in, gravely critical condition, then it can be fun. I mean, at that time, it's not really fun. I don't think.
It's rough at the time. Yeah.
Exactly. But if you do it like kind of like thinking ahead, yeah, and then you might even, get a lot more participation also. If you have time to think about ways you can get, people to participate, like even that grandmother, I think you may have been telling a story about maybe like, we have resistances, we have unconscious, whatever, that it's probably, but maybe, if planning ahead, maybe there are ways to find interesting ways to get her to participate without having to think too much, too deeply, bit by bit. It could have been possible.
We all have baggage,
Yeah.
and we get stuck and we're afraid and we're overwhelmed. And that's why so many people don't start, and they truly don't know where to start. And that's where, me having walked the path that I have, and honestly, I have poured hundreds and hundreds, I don't know, thousands of hours into this since then, and even at the time, so that I've done the hard part so that it's so much easier for anyone else. And that blesses me to know that I'm helping someone else have an easier path. That's very gratifying for me.
I just want to say, Linda, thank you so much for sharing all of this. This is wonderful. Now, every month we are going to come back again. It's going to be the first Monday of every month at 12 noon Eastern time. And Linda is actually going to go for 5 sessions. So she's going to walk us through some of the actual points that are in her program. So again, come back next month and we're going to talk about our storytelling as our marketing for the Build a Better Business. And Linda is going to continue on with her program. And so put that in your schedules. If you do want to listen to some of her program, you get to do that. So Linda, I'm going to turn it back over to you and let you finish out. For anyone that wants to connect with each other, put your email along with your name. So, because sometimes your email doesn't tell us who it is. Give us your name and your email if you haven't yet, if you want to stay connected in a group, and be sure and put it on a calendar to come back next month. So I'm going to turn it over to Linda and let her finish this out.
Great. So just in case, I feel like today was very successful in that my goal was just to have us all understand why this matters, why it's important. And it sounds like it has really struck a chord with pretty much everyone. Like, yeah, this is pretty important stuff and it matters. And the good of doing it is so wonderful, and the bad of not doing it means that just awful things are waiting for us if we don't, So in the upcoming sections of what would be day by day in the challenge, we'll be talking about things like what are the most critical instructions and documents that you must have in place, how to make sure that your loved ones know your wishes so that they can carry them out on your behalf, how to be sure that your worldly goods go to the people, causes, and organizations that you intend, what details you need to provide to make holding your funeral or memorial much easier for your family, how to set your family up for the most resilient experience in the new normal that they'll face after you're gone, and how to pass on the intangible and tangible valuables that you wish to leave for your loved ones. So as you can see, we have a lot to talk about, and I hope that you will join us on Monday, February 5th, and we'll continue the conversation.
I was on mute. My space bar didn't let me unmute. I love all of that. Linda, thank you so much. And I appreciate those of you that stayed on with us. And is there any last comments, or can you tell me a big aha? Just unmute and just give us, what was your aha moment for today? Mine is, I need to go back and revisit some of my planning that Linda's talking about and make sure that I am all squared away. So that was my aha for today. Any other aha moments from anyone?
This is Estella. My aha was number one, just what she's doing in terms of I need to get that plan put in place. And I know better. I'll just say that. But something she said, we just get so busy, this, that, and the other. And I always think, you know, somebody's not coming home tonight that left, you know, or they're whatever. But anyhow, that was the biggest aha, or I should say the biggest to do. I do want to connect with Linda sooner than later. And then also just, again, you're reviewing the 30-second.
Your VPS.
VPS, yes. And I wanted you to hear it because you're the expert. And if it impressed you, it's pretty good.
Yep, I can't wait. We're going to add, for those of you, and I don't know exactly where everyone's coming to us from, but we're going to add in the Columbus, Ohio area. And I know Rita's not close. I don't know if anybody else is too far away. I know, Linda, you're Pennsylvania, but Linda does drive over to see us. So, but we are going to add a couple of in-person just networking groups that I am a member of. I'm going to put it on my calendar. And so again, go to thecathybinner.com, scroll down to the calendar, click through, you'll see everything there. All of the Zoom events are there and the in-person events are there. And so if you want to join us at any time on any of the in-person stuff, you get to practice your VPS. You actually get to, and Estella, that's how you and I met, is we were at a networking event practicing our VPSs. That's how we met. So, so anyway, just know that there is some in-person opportunities for you, you know, that you can actually join in. Yeah, Ada, you have your hand up.
I want to ask a question. I don't know if you want it in a recording. It's separate. It's just a technical question, but.
No, go ahead, because I'm sure it'll help everyone.
Okay. Just asking, because I had logged out and logged back in when I initially came in on another device. Did you since you started where I came in, did you have the exact same settings, or did you change any of the settings in terms of it was always a webinar from the beginning?
Yes.
Oh, okay. It's weird. It's like on my one device, my computer, it showed a little differently, but I had to log out because I was having my computer right now, my storage space is very low, so it was slow and hard to hear, and you wouldn't have heard me very well. So anyway, but and it is different on when I'm now on my mobile device. But okay, I think I figured out why it was, because sometimes I do log in twice on other, because I can see better on my computer.
Right.
But and things like that. And then but on my mobile, I sometimes the audio is better. So sometimes
the mobile shows it differently. I know a couple of times I've actually facilitated a Zoom call on my mobile, and it does show it differently.
Yeah, so you know what I'm saying, right? It looks very different. Yeah, okay.
Yes.
And okay, so I think maybe from what I don't know, I'm not 100% saying, because I'm no expert. I'm just trying to guess why I normally am able to log in on both devices. And it threw me off, because this is the first time I've ever seen that, especially I'm not on two laptops. I'm on a mobile and a computer, but it could be possibly, I'm not saying this is the case. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there to you, Kathy. It's showing that it could be possibly maybe the host. I don't know. Maybe I don't know if you on purpose, or maybe you didn't even notice. You may have just pressed not to allow registrants to join from multiple devices. So I think it has something. So you have to allow. Could that be possibly what it is?
Yeah, it could be, because we're on a webinar, and when you sign in, you come in as an attendee, and I can either click you through to speak only, which puts your name on the screen, or to actually rejoin as a panelist, which means then you can show your video. And
no,
so
I think there's something. I just looked it up because it's been bothering me for the past 30-40 minutes because right now anytime I try to sign on my other device, it's kicking me out. But I've never had that before this past hour ever. So when I was trying to research, so it could be like I'm talking about like when the registration. I'm just saying maybe like when you have since you say we're all learning, if you can check maybe it was, I mean, it still goes through you to allow people in and kick people out, but it's just that if you would allow for registrants to join from multiple devices, then I could be back both on my laptop and my computer. I don't know if that's what it is. It's just.
Yeah, Stella was on with 2 devices earlier in the call. So I think I have it clicked to allow, but I'll double check that. Thanks for bringing that up.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Ronnie.
You know, things that just throw you off. Sorry.
Yep, I get it. Ronnie, you
Hi.
have your hand up.
I do. I just want to say thank you. I thought this was really helpful. I took a lot of notes. You know, Kathy, you're a wealth of information, and it really got me to thinking about some things. And Linda, I've been, thinking about this end of life planning for so long. I do have 2 young boys. I'm divorced. And so I put a will in place and a trust in place. But just you mentioning things like having the property transferred into the trust, right? I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't have that, right? So I really appreciate that. And I think one of the values that you bring too is just helping us become an informed consumer. If we do choose to sit down and have a conversation with an attorney, to be able to have the information so that we're asking the right questions and so that we're getting, things structured in a way that we want it to be structured, right? Sometimes we're looking to other folks to kind of guide us through that process, but maybe because they do it so much, they're not thinking about the things that we would have a question on. So thank you for that. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. And I'll just throw this out there. I was speaking with an attorney and they said, I can see where I would be able to charge people less for my services if they went through your course and had all their stuff gathered together. So there's an extra bonus there.
Good to know.
Right, great.
Anyone else?
Yeah, so now I'll talk on the topic again. Again, so what the person just said, I think I had missed that. I'll have to go back and listen to the replay among so many other good replays to listen to. You always have good information. But I mean, again, unfortunately, when I was going through this my own self, and I don't know about unfortunately, all these resources were not even available online. The Zoom, wasn't a thing. I mean, I'm sure it existed, but it wasn't popular. Most people didn't know about it, so but it's great. Things are improving, so I mean, it's wonderful we can all connect, because before all of that, I couldn't have connected. We're all in different states with the,
Ada, where are you coming to us from?
From New York,
From New York, okay.
Yeah.
Now, are you in the city or just outside of the city?
Yeah, I'm in the 5 boroughs, contain the city. Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
So so it's just very valuable to have. I mean, I guess everyone will be to some extent, in this situation. So yeah, I think it's a very good. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for your comments. Any other aha moments from anyone before we go today?
Well, I am so grateful for all the insights and comments and reactions from everyone today. And in regard to the VPS, I appreciate the pointing out that I may want to just focus on the social media and digital assets piece, particularly when speaking with someone younger. But I've found that it's really resonant also with people our age if they're digital creators. So any of us that have any amount of a footprint online, it's worth sharing that information with people of all ages. And I'll work on a second VPS aimed at younger folks that may capture their attention a little more. So thank you for that.
I love it. Well, again, I want to say thanks for everyone for being here. We're getting ready to close out. Put it on your calendar. February 5 is the first Monday in February. And so we're going to be back on February 5 at 12 noon. And we're going to talk about your storytelling is your marketing. And we hope everybody has their VPSs ready to shout them out for us. And then we're going to talk about putting your story together, because that's your marketing. And then Linda's going to do her second session of her Legacy of Love project. So with that said, we are going to go and watch for the replay. You can check it out at kathybinner.com. So with that, I think we're going to call it a day for today. Everybody have a great week and a great month, and we will see you next time. Now, one more thing, the actual Zoom that you registered for, that gets you in on all of our calls every Monday. You're welcome to tap into as many as you want, different topics. I have 5 different lanes. And then also on the third Monday of every month at 4 o'clock, we do our fitness lane with Rita. Rita was with us earlier. She's had to jump off. But Rita, I think she's jumped off. Yeah, but Rita is my co-host on the fitness lane, and we do that the third Monday at 4, but we're here every Monday at noon. So feel free to join us. So we'll see everyone next time. Bye.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.